Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. How are you doing all? I hope you're doing well, staying healthy, enjoying life and must be planning to improve your life. Here we are to do so. Here daily we read a chapter of a novel to develop reading habit to improve our English, including reading, writing, speaking, vocabulary at the same time enhancing our knowledge. As we know, reading is the best practice to develop all these things, which help us in many ways and reading could be one of the good hobby to make a change in ourselves, as we have heard from many prominent personality that books change their life, add values, widen their knowledge. We can learn and live other lives by reading a book and get all those experience and learn from their mistake. So why to commit same mistake if we can learn from them and improve our life? So join me in this journey to become best version of ourselves. Before starting, I would love to hear your thought in comment section. Remember to like, share with your loved one to change their life as well, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Press the bell icon for daily updates. Daily we read a chapter from the novel. So today we are going to read chapter 3 or you can say part 3 of this novel. Novel is Your Dreams Are Mine Now, which is written by Ravinder Singh. So, yesterday we read that Rupali had a enjoyable event in her first day in college, and she got a orientation class from the principal and all the professor. After that, seniors had planned some of the music and partying thing, so she enjoyed along with her classmate. And later on in the evening, when everything ended, so she was planting a plant of a tulsi. So some of the juniors came and start asking a question, why are you planting this? So this make her anxious, but anyhow she was able to handle that, and she talked with them and finally it was sorted. So today we are going to read part 3. So in this we will see that what is there for us and what we can learn. So while reading this book, we are living a life of a college. If you haven't gone regular college, even you can get that what else and what is there in the regular college, what how it goes from the orientation day. And with the time we will begin with the uh, other chapter also and see that what happened. So this is the beauty of a reading. So let's start and see that what is there for us. I hope you will enjoy it.
3. The semester had finally begun. The festivities were over, and a serious academic life had made its way into the lives of the hundreds of students. No one realized how quickly the first week of college got over. After a busy week filled with classes and taking notes, the first weekend offered a much needed break to the students to adjust to their new lives. Besides completing their college assignments, the student students utilized the weekend to finish pending tasks like buying new prepaid SIM cards, updating phone books, and so on. Some first year students shuffled their rooms in the hostel based on new friendship circles that had sprung up at the college canteen and in the corridors of the hostels. The newly formed groups of girls also went out to watch a recently released movie. While a majority of the boys stayed back to play a game of cricket within their hostel compound, some went out to explore the option of buying a second hand bike for themselves. Within a week of the first semester, friendships and acquaintances from the real world had also got transferred to the online world. Friend requests, in bulk, had been sent and accepted on Facebook. In some interesting cases, the smart girls had made the desperate boys wait for too long, only to reject their friend requests later. Who was single and who was in a relationship was all clear by the end of the week. But unlike others, Rupali wasn't a social networking buff at all. She didn't even have a Facebook account. Saloni, her roommate, had found this very odd. She could not imagine a life that was only led in the real world. She insisted that Rupali open an account. But Rupali stuck on in her refusal. And when Saloni failed to persuade Rupali with her reasoning, she made a funny move to convince her. She made Rupali swear on her brother Tanmay's photograph that adorned Rupali's study table. Rupali was truly shocked. Why was it so important to have an FB account? And why was Saloni so dramatic always? Seeing her roommate's astonished face, Saloni immediately thought of another argument. Certainly, she wasn't going to give up so soon. Ari Baba, you will be able to connect with Tanmay so easily on Facebook. Don't you want your family to see your pictures from your hostel life? Now that was a master stroke. Why hadn't she thought of it before? Of course, Rupali wanted her family to see her in her new setup, but she still wasn't sure. But that was enough for Saloni. She had her foot in the door, and within an hour, she had finally taken her roommate to the digital world. Rupali had a Facebook profile along with a profile picture freshly clicked on Saloni's 6 megapixel phone, something that helped Saloni justify the need as well as the price tag of her beloved gadget. Interestingly, unlike Saloni's previous claim that she would not stay back in the hostel on weekends, she did stay that whole weekend. Rupali wondered if her roommate would ever think of leaving the hostel and going back to her parents' place. It was the middle of the second week. After the classes had gotten over, Rupali, as usual, was on her way back to her hostel when her eyes fell on the notice board. A fluorescent A4 size paper with pictures of musical instruments on its margins hung from the top of the board. The pictures on that bright page caught her attention. She stopped in order to take a closer look. As she read, a big smile appeared on her face. It was an invitation. The official music club of the college had invited the first year batch to join them. It talked about a selection process that had a round of auditions, which were due late that afternoon. Rupali loved singing. In Patna, she had been an active member of her school's music club. Having won a couple of prizes and lots of accolades in her school, she had always dreamt of participating in one of the music reality shows. Had it not been for the limited memory of her mobile phone, she wouldn't have had to delete old songs to accommodate new ones. Downloading songs to her phone and managing the limited memory of her mobile had become her bi-weekly routine. She had planned that the day she would earn her own money she would buy a good multi-gig song storage device for herself. Not just that, she had plans to buy and install a Dolby surround sound system in her house that she would switch on every morning while she got ready for work. Music kept her going. Even when she was alone in her room or busy doing something on her own, she would keep humming her favorite songs. A habit which her friends and family found annoying at times because she completely lost herself in the songs and refused to even hear them. So when she saw the notice for the music club, she didn't need to think twice about appearing for the auditions. On her way back to her hostel, she kept thinking of the song she would sing. In the excitement of joining a music club, she could not eat her meal properly. And once she would decided on the song, she rehearsed it a few times in her room. It was one of her favorite ghazals from an old Hindi movie named Bajar, sung by the legendary Lata Mangeshkar. The ghazal had peculiar lyrics, Dikhai diye you, ke bekhud kiya, something that made it very special for her. She remembered the lyrics by heart. Her attempt at practicing it in her room had partly woken up Saloni, who was in the habit of taking an afternoon nap because she stayed up partying till late in the night. When Rupali was about to step out of her room, Saloni asked her what was she up to. On finding out the reason, she giggled in her lightheadedness and said, "Is that the reason you have been humming for so long?" "Yeah," Rupali responded, a little embarrassed. "Who is going with you for the audition?" Saloni asked, turning on her side to make herself more comfortable. "I don't know about the others. I read the invite on the college notice board and made up my mind to go for it." "All right, I am leaving now," she said and stepped out of the room. "Okay, good luck," Saloni shouted behind her and went back to sleep. Rupali reached the audition venue. It was to be held in a classroom on the second floor. As the classes were over for the day, the whole building seemed way quieter than in the mornings. However, there were a few students busy installing the acoustics and instruments. Rupali looked from one side of the spacious room to the other. The benches in the front rows near the blackboard had been pushed to the sides. A guy who was trying to unwind the tangled wires of a few electric guitars noticed her and asked, "Yes, I am here for the audition," she said enthusiastically. The guy looked at his wristwatch and said, "Then you are well before time for that. There are 15 more minutes to go." "Oh," she uttered, a little too loudly. Suddenly everyone looked up from what they were doing and stared at her. She smiled nervously, unsure of what to do with herself. She looked at her watch. In her excitement, she had not paid attention to the time. She began to wonder if she should wait there or come back later, as she didn't know anyone there. "Don't worry. Till the time we start, you can wait here," a girl suggested. She seemed to be the only other female in that classroom apart from Rupali. Rupali felt comfortable with that. "Okay, thanks," she said with a smile. The girl walked towards her and asked, "So you are from the first year, right?" "Yes. My name is Rupali. Back at my school, I used to sing. I am so happy to see a music club here in college. When I read about today's audition, I got very excited. That's the reason I came early," Rupali blurted. The other girl smiled. "Nice to meet you. I'm Sheetal from the final year, and this is our band. Let me introduce our band to you. That's Swami," she said, pointing towards a thin guy with a longish beard. "He plays the drums as well as the tabla. Raghu and Mirza over there play the electric guitar. And that is Harpreet," she said, introducing a tall guy with a turban and clear fair skin. "He plays the keyboards. Tenzing is a vocalist and our lead singer. He represents our club at the university level. The Dew crowd loves him when he sings." As she continued to take a few more names, the members responded by either waving a hand or by smiling back. Tenzing seemed to have the most playful, carefree smile, Rupali noted. "We all are from different streams and different years, and we look forward to welcoming a few students from your batch into our club too," Tenzing shouted while bringing the mic up to his level. Rupali smiled. She would love to be a part of this group, she thought. By the time the instruments were fully installed, it was already 10 minutes past 4, a little over the time they had been asked to report. By then, all the music enthusiasts from Rupali's batch had gathered in the room. Rupali counted that there were some 7 of them, apart from her. She was the only girl. The club had planned to start the audition process with their self-introductions by playing a number. It was a musical introduction come welcome from the club members for the new students keen on joining. The band tuned their guitars and synced them with the keyboard, and the guy on the tabla tuned his instruments at the right scale. Ready? Tenzing asked aloud. Everyone nodded. One, two, three, four, and fingers ran on the strings of the guitar and tapped over the tabla. All of a sudden, the classroom came alive with the vibrations and the melody of the instruments. Within seconds, the pulsating tune energized everyone present, especially the newcomers who began tapping their hands and feet to the rhythm. It was a piece by a Pakistani Sufi band. Rupali was delighted, and one could see it on her glowing face. She knew the lyrics well and couldn't wait for the singer to pick up the first line. And when he did, she sang along. The members of the music club, who were not participating, boosted the morale of their friends by cheering in bursts throughout the performance. After 5 minutes or so, when the song ended, everyone gave the band a thundering applause. The performance, on the one hand, had set high expectations for those who had gathered to give the audition, and on the other hand, had charged up everyone to give their best. When the audition began, Rupali was the first to sing. Two of the boys from the first year, who were there to play the instruments, two joined her. One occupied the seat behind the Congo and another stood behind the keyboards. They took a few minutes to discuss how to go about it. The guy on the keyboards wasn't too sure if he knew the scale and the tune of this ghazal from a much older decade. But he said that he would try to manage. As soon as they were ready, the keyboards guy gave a thumbs up. Rupali nodded and closed her eyes. She was about to start. Rupali began with a long alap, which was her own customized addition to the ghazal. But before she could arrive at her first pause to catch a breath, something happened. She heard a loud noise approaching the room. She opened her eyes in fear. Everyone was looking towards the door. Suddenly, a mob of about a dozen people rushed in and began vandalizing the whole setup. You will now sing in classrooms, Han. What is this? A classroom or your music school? Han. Someone in the approaching mob shouted. Break their fucking guitars and their bloody mics, someone else yelled. This must be this Chinky's idea to do events in classrooms now. Someone else passed a racial comment on Tenzing. Tenzing wanted to react. He was in two minds. As the mob outnumbered their gathering, he didn't have much of a choice. Besides, there were two girls with them. His first priority was to safeguard the students and then his instruments. It wasn't wise on his part to get into a scuffle. The suddenness with which all that happened didn't give him enough time to make up his mind. The next second, there were noises of benches being thrown here and there and of people breaking the instruments. The first year students who had come for the audition stood up in shock. The guys from the music group jumped to stop a few in the mob. They shouted their names and asked them what they were up to. Sheetal ran towards Rupali to protect her. She pulled her against the wall, next to the blackboard. Tenzing and his team attempted to save their instruments. They kept shouting at a few people in the group, asking them to stop the ruckus. But the mob outnumbered the members of the group. Luckily, no one hit anyone. Before anyone could make any sense of what was happening, a guitar was broken, the drums were punctured, and a raw fear was instilled in the minds of the newcomers.